A year ago, I drove to the 10 nearest rapid charging sites to my house, and 6 out of 10 of them, 60% of them, did not work, which is appalling, quite frankly. So I thought, well, it's been a year, let's revisit them. Let's see if they're any more reliable, any better, and, well, to see if we've at least got some progression on what was, well, appalling, quite frankly. It was awful. 4 out of 10 working, and all of those 4 that were working were full. So it was just a crap show, quite frankly. So let's see what's changed. I'm currently en route to the first charger. But before I go and see if that's working, I need to tell you about something that's very reliable. It's smarthomecharge.co.uk. Now, if I needed a home charger, they installed mine, would be getting one from smarthomecharge.co.uk. They have a huge array of chargers. You can scroll down the list. There's a ton of them. You've got a comparison tool. So you tell them what car you've got and they will pick the best one for your particular vehicle. They've got loads of accessories, cables, different lengths. If you need public charging type 2, for example, they've got all that. You can pay in full, you can pay in monthly installments, and you've got all options. I've had mine installed by them, my brother's, Harry's, or by Smart Home Charge, and it's been faultless. Check their Trustpilot score, and please thank them for sponsoring this channel. So that's smarthomecharge.co.uk. Now, as I said last time, this is just a snapshot of today in this area. This is not necessarily indicative of the UK's charging network. I'm not going to visit every single one on camera again. In fact, I don't have to this time, handily enough, because one of my EV driving neighbours is actually going to Skipton, so that's 3 of the 10 that I don't have to visit because they're doing it for me. Now, the first charge point that I'm going to physically visit and do on camera, and the one after that actually, are the ones I'm most interested in. Not only are they the 2 closest to my house, but they've been down for a long time. Although, in the network's defence, all networks now, some of them are just looking after their charge point for, let's say, a council or a supermarket. So let's imagine the charger is broken. The network says, this is what you need to repair this charger, Mr. Council, and the council says, oh yeah, we'll get back to you when we approve that, when we've got some money. And then they never get back to them. So ultimately, it's not the network's fault that it's not working, it's the people who own the charge point. The network are just looking after it, they're administering it. So network bashing is something I'm going to, again, as I did in the last video, not directly do, although there does seem to be a correlation between the good and the bad, to be honest, because it could be unfair. It may not be their responsibility. Righty, it's just round this corner. This charger is no longer on ZapMap. Well, that's a good start. I've tried to log into the app and it just says, look, whoops, there's a problem. Error ID, I can't log in. I've tried 3 times now. Crying out loud. Right, so that's useless. Let's see if I can use contactless payment, shall we? Okay, tap your contactless card on the terminal to charge. Start. Oh, it's verifying, it's verifying. Hey, it might actually be working, guys. After over a year, I think. Oh. I wonder if they take the Octocard thing. Oh my God. Huh? Oh. There we go, folks. Utterly useless. Now, the last time I checked this charger, it was offline for about 9 months, and it said it was always in use now, but that was on ZapMap. However, it's no longer on ZapMap, maybe because it doesn't work. I can't get the app working, I can't get that working with the Octocard, with my contactless card, with my phone. It's not working. So, as far as I'm concerned, this hasn't worked for well over a year. Probably longer. But on their map, it says it is. And that's my biggest beef. Unreliable charging is close to the top, but my biggest beef is when the map itself, and this is not just with this network, when the map itself says it's working. This used to say it was always in use when it clearly wasn't. At least it's not saying that now. But how many times would you visit a charger if it said, oh, well, I'm not working? It'd be 0. You wouldn't waste your time. It's when you drive somewhere and you pull up and you try, and then you look at the map and it says, well, it's working. But then you find out through looking at the comments that it hasn't worked for months or however long. That's the most infuriating part. And don't tell me there is no automated or even semi-automated way of figuring out if a charge point is working or not. Well, it normally gets 10 users a day, and for the last week we've had 0 users. Oh, that's quiet. That must be what they're doing right now, rather than maybe there's a problem with the charge network. If it uses 10 on average a day and less than 4 people have used it in a 24-hour period, maybe some automated flagging up of whatever should happen. I mean, I worked in IT for over 20 years. I know if a server's gone down for one of our clients before they do typically. Don't tell me this is not possible. Oh, it riles me right up. Right, let's check the next one, which has also been offline or inaccessible for about a year or more. So let's just see. In fact, I can tell from here, it's all completely blocked off. Right, now, see, I don't know how to think about this, because that has been on the map for ZapMap, PlugShare, all the usual stuff, who tend to need to be told when something isn't online. But it's also been on the map for the network itself, and it's still on the map right now. It's saying it's online. That has been physically inaccessible well over a year, probably longer. Why is it still on the map? Why are people coming to this area and thinking, right, I need a charge, this is the closest one, and then finding that out? And then going to the other one that says it's online, that hasn't worked for God knows how long, and again finding it doesn't work and hasn't done for ages. It makes me angry. I'm not even using these things, and I'm already annoyed. I've just heard back from a couple of my spies. Skipton's looking good. As before, they were working, and they have been for a long time. They're pretty flawless, if I'm honest, the ones there. Apart from the one in the supermarket. It's working on AC, but not on DC, on rapid charging, effectively. And as I'm looking at rapid chargers, that is effectively not working. I'm now going to visit another one of the long-term downers. On camera, I'll do the rest and not bore you with it afterwards. But yeah, this was powered off. It was literally off. There was no electricity to the unit at all last year. So fingers crossed that one has at least been fixed. That should be obvious to even the charge network that it ain't working. And this particular charge network in question, you know who you are, and you could probably figure it out yourself without me actually telling you. They've reached out to me over the last 6 months or so. Said, oh, hi, could we collaborate and do a video about what we're doing with our network? And I get this sort of thing a lot. And I went, yeah, sure, no problems. Before that, though, could you just check these 3 charge points for me and tell me why they've been down for so long? And then we can progress. Didn't get back to me at all. So if anybody from that particular network is watching this, I've tried. Yeah, now this video's just turning into a rant rather than what it was originally intended to. So again, I'll get to this next point, see if it's working, then I'll do the rest off camera and then just summarise at home, because I'm just riling myself up here. Is that a new charger? Hey, it's a new charger. Actually physically replaced the unit. Right, well, it's working. We got one. Well, whilst I'm here, I might as well check the one that's literally just over there. Hey, I believe that has been replaced as well. Whoa. Blow me down with a feather. Well, I'll check this and, well, I'll summarise when I get back home. Right, I am done. Thanks to my good friends that have checked the ones further afield for me. That's saved me a butt ton of time. All 10 have been checked effectively, so thanks for that, guys. Right, we do have progression. So to recap, last time we had 6 faulty chargers of 10s, 60% failure rate. This time we have 4 of 10, so 40% failure rate have not worked. Now, compared to last time, that's not a bad thing. We're better than we were. But even then, a 40% failure rate? The only thing, I guess, that seems there's a bit of a glimmer of light, shall we say, at the end of the tunnel, is that 2 of the most unreliable ones have been physically replaced with new units. So that is a very good thing. And I'm hopeful that they're going to do that with the other 2. The few petrol stations that I visited last, there's been 2 or 3 pumps not working. You know, when you get the little yellow thing over the nozzle so you can't use it. So it's not unusual to have a petrol pump out of use. But when you've got a dozen or more, it doesn't really matter, does it? And remember, this is just rapid charging. Destination charging is a far, far more effective way of enabling people who can't charge at home to be able to charge. So if you could charge at your work, or there was a dozen chargers at your supermarket or the cinema car park or the council car parks, that's far more effective than the rapid charger. So I'll leave it up to you now. 4 of 10 is still bad. It's still very poor. But the ones that aren't working are what I would call legacy sites, that they were probably put in for token council reasons, is probably the easiest way of saying it. So it's not a case of the chargers can't be made reliable. Tesla have proven that time and time again. Of course they can. It's that some networks aren't very good at looking after them. Some councils have put stuff in that they can no longer afford to keep. Some companies will maybe do that as well. But ultimately, the one thing again that I will say once more about the networks is sort your bloody maps out. And it's not just one, there's many networks that do this. Oh, it's working fine. I've been to loads that do that. And then you get there and it's physically powered down and you think, how did you not know? And before anybody says we're not ready for 2035, you're absolutely correct. It's 2024, so we're not going to be ready for 2035. Will we be ready? Well, that's reliant on government, councils, and to a lesser extent, charge networks to sort their crap out. And given the first 2, the government and council part of it all, that's my biggest worry. But we've got plenty of time to sort it out. So if you want to be useful, badger your MP, badger your councillors, badger the people that matter. Don't just complain on YouTube like I'm doing right now. Actually do what I have done in the past. See my MP, help councils out. I've done all that. I am doing all that because I want a network that's reliable for me and everyone else. I'm now going to go home and use my very reliable charger. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.